Thanks so much for joining us today. Really excited to have Maitai here and to talk about everything that we're doing together to showcase the value of fast inference and how people can better use fine-tuned models on platforms like SambaNova. Thanks so much for being here, Christian. And why don't we do quick intros and would love to learn a little bit more about Maitai and what you're looking to do with Maitai and fine-tuned LLMs.
Yeah, sure. So Christian Del Santo, I'm the CEO founder of Maitai. What we do is fully managed inference as a service specifically for enterprise. So what does that mean? We basically fine-tune models specifically for our customers' applications, and then we host them on the fastest hardware available. And the result there is what we call no compromise inference, right? Mm-hmm. So you get super low latency, typically under 150 milliseconds time to first token. You get ultra high throughput, 800 to 1200 tokens per second plus in some instances. And then you get accuracy that keeps climbing. So it asymptotically approaches 100% as we kind of iteratively do those fine tunes.
Yeah. And I think accuracy is so important as more customers are building with AI. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what you're seeing with your customers and why they come to you, especially when they're looking to improve accuracy in their use cases?
Yeah, what we typically see is we work with customers who they're in production or they're about to be in production, right? And there's some limiting factor that's keeping them from scaling. And so it's typically unit economics, right? Speed or latency or accuracy, right? They're using off-the-shelf models right now and it's just not doing it for them. They're not fast enough, right? Or maybe they started fine-tuning and they're hosting it on GPUs. Those GPUs just are not fast enough. They're only getting like 40 tokens per second, right? So there's something hindering them from scaling.
Sure.
Right? And that's where we come in.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about that and kind of what you're seeing when it comes to the need for fine-tuned models that are smaller versus kind of the larger models that you're getting up there, right? Whether that's DeepSeek, whether that is even Llama 4 Maverick, like these are all relatively big models.
Yeah.
The accuracy is definitely much bigger, and those models all tend to be a lot more accurate and performant. But there's equally a lot of work that's being done with fine-tuned models as well to improve accuracy on the smaller model spectrum scale.
Yeah, they all play a role, right? So a trend that we see in enterprise, especially right now, is decomposing large problems into smaller problems and associating a model with each of those small problems. What we see is that there tends to be higher accuracy the more narrow you make your directive that you're giving to that model, right? So we're already working with customers and maybe we've shipped them only like 2 models to begin with,
sure.
But now they're starting to break down those tasks into more discrete problems and they're running the same flows on 6 to 8 different models, but now they have higher accuracy, higher efficiency because it's smaller models, right? And they're just getting better results in general.
Yeah.
Much faster too.
And do you see that with like, I guess, even agents as well, where they need...
Especially agents, right? Because you have like multiple steps and latency is compounding in that, right? So that's especially important.
Yeah. And you brought up latency, so I think that's one of the reasons why fast inference really matters. We want to talk a little bit more about that too.
Yeah, I mean, since day one, we knew that latency is kind of like paramount once you get into production, right? Especially, we work with a lot of chat-based application companies, right? Especially like voice.
Yeah.
And latency, that time to first token is crucial, right? So like, there's a concept of having kind of a natural language barrier at 250 milliseconds. And beyond that, conversation starts to become unnatural.
Yeah.
So we really only saw the ability to kind of have natural conversation recently with the advent of accelerated compute hardware like SambaNova's.
Awesome. And do you see that both in like the text chat-based systems as well as voice, or maybe more broadly, what are some of the use cases that you see that are really resonating and working well with your customers?
A lot of voice-based applications, but also applications where adherence to policies or regulations is paramount, and there could be disastrous consequences, right? So we do some work in the medtech and fintech and finance, specifically like baking in that reliability into the model itself. Now,
Sure.
you always need kind of like multiple layers of reliability when you're dealing with those sensitive areas,
Yeah.
but you need something in the model itself. But
Yeah.
I would say like our bread and butter is voice-based applications right now, right? There's just, it's usually following some script or like decision or conversation type of flow.
Yeah.
And not only does latency compound there and can lead to unnatural conversation, but errors also compound.
Yeah.
Right. So if you hit a problem early on, it totally destroys the entire user experience.
Right. Yeah. And that's true in agents also. Like, well,
Yeah.
a step, a misstep earlier on in the process kind of can completely get it to go off the rails.
Yeah, it's dominoes. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So hence why accuracy is important, especially when you're looking at. I'm sure you're seeing this too. Is in those enterprise use cases where there's a lot of proprietary data that's not going to be baked into the models, and at least when they were trained, right? And so you need to bring that information in to improve the accuracy and make sure if it's something like SambaNova, it actually knows that you're talking about SambaNova and not salmon or whatever.
Yeah, right.
It might
something
be
it trained on Reddit or something like
Yeah.
that, right? Domain drift is a big thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So no, that's great. And then how can customers work with you and then kind of get the benefits also of the speed and feeds of SambaNova?
So right now we integrate pretty seamlessly with SambaNova, right? So work with us. We need to understand your use cases, what you're using currently, where your problems lie, and then we will fine-tune models and kind of like build test sets so we can benchmark those new models against legacy, which we're using now. And then we work with SambaNova to host those adapters through their multi-LoRa hot swapping type of infrastructure. So it really is seamless there.
Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, we're happy to host all of these checkpoints and make them accessible for enterprises. And obviously in those voice-based use cases that we talked about, speed is 100% like the top thing that
it's
enterprises
paramount.
need, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So anything else you'd want to leave the audience with as it comes to the need for fine-tuning and faster inference?
Yeah, I would say that we do recognize that fine-tuning isn't the magic bullet. There's a lot of lower hanging fruit, right? There's still prompt engineering and RAG, but what we see is like eventually most enterprise use cases tend to kind of like follow the need for fine-tuning eventually. It's good to get a handle on that as early as possible.
Yeah.
So you can get ahead of your competition and capture as much of your market as possible.
Yeah, and then ultimately, once you get those two integrated, improving the user experience, you can have happy customers.
Yep.
Happy, sticky customers is the name of the game right now.
Exactly, and you want to start that feedback loop as early as possible.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Appreciate the time, and this is great.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sam.